My name is Laine Rinehart, and I am at the Sheldon Jackson Museum in Sitka, Alaska, where I am an artist in residence. And this is the third of a series of videos that we are taking. And in this video, I'll be going over the preparation of Wu, or mountain goat wool. It's a very, oftentimes I hear of referred to as a very sacred material. It's absolutely beautiful and delicate to work with, and in Tlingit we would call it a Wu ani, which is kind of like mountain goat land where they live. It's kind of it's an interesting place. I like to think of it as kind of this transition place between kind of our earth and the sky, and it really feels like that when you're working with it. So it's, I think, kind of good to have that sort of intention when you're working with it. It feels good to work with. It's kind of difficult for me to communicate that, but it feels very different than when you're working with merino wool. And so what I've already started to do here is I've started drafting it. So basically, I have this bunch of fibers that I've started pulling the mountain goat wool from in order to create strands for later spinning on my thigh. And I'll kind of talk about that a little bit later, but I'm trying to basically make them as even as possible in order to create a yarn that someday down the line I might weave with, but we'll see. This is mostly just kind of for me at this point in my weaving. Just trying to kind of familiarize myself with it more than anything. And here I'll kind of go towards, I guess you could say, the origin point of where I'm pulling from. And so, you might have a clump like this when you're working with it initially, but it's quite fascinating because you can actually kind of elongate it and pull it out. So you have these nice lawn pieces to work with, and the fiber of the mountain goat, the individual hairs are actually quite short and delicate, but you can still, if you're careful, get nice long pulls out of them. So you have either warp or weft yarns later to weave with. And actually, I had the pleasure of working with a Kawakiwakan Haida weaver, and she took me through the process of how she learned how to do this, which was many long hours of, for quite some time, just drafting. She just learned how to draft the yarn prior to actually spinning it. So she spent as long as she could just sort of perfecting this process in order to create a yarn she could work with later down the line. So I am not quite there yet. I'm going to try to see if I can kind of pull this whole clump of wool here into a nice long strand that I can later spin. And there's lots of guard hairs in this fiber yet, but it's okay. We can pull them out basically as I go, as long as the vast majority of them are out. It's all right. I'm not going to worry too much about making it like perfect at this point, but you can kind of see them poking out here. They definitely stand out from the wool itself. I've heard that there's kind of also a contention of whether the wool, so to speak, is actually wool or if it's just like a much finer hair, and I can't exactly remember what that difference is between the two of them, but I don't know, I just call it wool anyhow because it's nice and soft and you can weave with it. I sometimes have dreams of like maybe knitting gloves or something with them. I think that would be fun. Yeah, you can see as you get closer, it's really nice and dense still, and you can get these nice long pulls. Now it's going actually pretty easily. There's some, if you're working with shorter fibers of mountain goat that you really have to kind of comb them together and comb them out and then pull them. And this is, I've done that before, and it's not so fun, and it definitely does not work as nicely as working with